Do you ever feel like a passenger in your own life? You wake up, you check your phone, you rush through breakfast, you start your day. The hours unfold in a familiar blur. Tasks, reactions, habits. You respond to emails with that tight feeling in your chest. You handle disagreements with the same defensive words. It feels like you're making choices. But are you really? Or is an invisible pilot flying the plane? This autopilot is a collection of old habits, conditioned responses, running your life based on past programming. It's efficient, but it leaves no room for anything new. It keeps you stuck in the same loops, day after day. This autopilot is not your fault. It's a feature of the human nervous system. Our brains create shortcuts to save energy. Repeating actions builds strong neural pathways. That's helpful for learning to walk or drive, but it also shapes our emotional reactions. A critical comment from a boss can trigger shame. A certain tone from a partner can start an old argument. These reactions happen so fast, we don't see the moment of choice. We simply react. The problem: autopilot robs us of freedom. It prevents fresh eyes and a clear mind. But what if you could take the controls back? What if you could create a small gap between trigger and reaction? In that tiny space, a world of possibility opens up. You could choose to stay calm instead of getting angry. You could choose curiosity instead of judgment. You could choose to listen instead of immediately defending. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who you truly are. Reclaim your ability to choose how you show up moment by moment. True freedom isn't controlling what happens, it's how you respond. The good news: you can train your brain. You can build the skill of awareness. This doesn't require hours of silent meditation or a retreat to a remote monastery. It can be done in just a few minutes each day. It's like going to the gym, but for your mind. Short, consistent practice strengthens your awareness muscle. That lets you notice autopilot as it kicks in. Once you notice it, you can interrupt it. Then choose a different path. Move from passenger to pilot of your own life. This is where your daily mind gym comes in. It is a simple, 15-minute system designed to do one thing: condition your nervous system to prioritize awareness over autopilot. Forget abstract theories and complicated philosophies. This is a practical, repeatable exercise. It is a set of clear instructions that you can follow every single day. The goal is not to empty your mind or reach a state of perfect bliss. The goal is to train yourself to notice what is happening inside you. It is about moving from a state of automatic reaction to one of conscious, deliberate choice. This practice gives you the tools to handle life's challenges with greater wisdom and calm. The system is broken down into 5 distinct phases. Phase 1. Stabilize attention. Phase 2. Observe thoughts. Phase 3. Interrupt automatic reaction. Phase 4. Redirect response. Phase 5. Lock in new pattern. Each phase has a specific purpose and a set time, making the entire process manageable and easy to follow. We will begin with stabilizing your attention, creating a calm foundation. Then, we will move to observing your thoughts without getting lost in them. After that, we will learn to interrupt an automatic reaction as it forms. The next phase guides you to redirect your response toward a more intentional choice. Finally, we will lock in the new pattern with a simple daily commitment. This structured approach ensures that you are building the skill of awareness step by step, in a way that your brain can easily learn and adapt. This is not just another meditation guide. Think of it as a workout for your nervous system. You are not just sitting and thinking about being calm. You are actively training your mind to behave differently under pressure. By intentionally bringing up real-life triggers in a controlled setting, you learn to stay aware even when you feel activated. This is the key difference. Many practices teach you to be calm when things are already calm. This practice teaches you how to find your center in the middle of the storm. It's about building resilience that you can actually use in your day-to-day life, with your family, at your job. The power of this method lies in its consistency. A small daily act is far more effective than a long, infrequent one. By dedicating just 15 minutes each day, you are building a lasting habit. You are carving new neural pathways in your brain. Each session reinforces the connection between awareness, interruption, intentional choice. Over time, what starts as a deliberate practice becomes your new default setting. You will begin to catch yourself automatically, not just during your 15-minute session, but in the middle of a busy day. This is how you stop living on autopilot and start living a life of your own design. Table of Contents. Part 2, Act 1. Phase 1, Stabilize. Section 1, the first 3 minutes. Finding your seat. Section 2, the foundational cue. I'm the one noticing. Section 3, handling the wandering mind. Let's begin with the first phase, stabilize. This initial step takes just 3 minutes. Its purpose is to create a steady foundation for the rest of your practice. The instructions are simple, but their effect is profound. First, find a comfortable place to sit. Chair, a cushion on the floor, the edge of your bed. Keep your spine relatively straight but not rigid. Allow your body to feel supported. Let your hands rest gently on your lap or on your knees. No special posture required. The goal is simply to be still. Next, put your phone away. Turn it on silent. Place it out of sight. This small act is a powerful signal to your brain. For the next few minutes, you are unavailable to the outside world. You are creating a protected space for your attention. This isn't about rejecting technology, it's about choosing to disconnect from external demands so you can connect with your internal world. Removing the primary source of modern distraction lets your nervous system settle down. Now, gently close your eyes, or lower your gaze to a soft focus on the floor a few feet in front of you. Begin to breathe naturally. There's no need to change your breath. Don't try to make it deeper, slower, or more controlled. Let your body breathe itself. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Feel the rise and fall of your belly. Notice the air moving in through your nose and out again. Returning attention to the breath anchors you in the present moment. It is a physical sensation always available to you. As you sit in stillness, allow your body to feel heavy and relaxed. Let go of unnecessary tension in your jaw. Let go in your shoulders. Let go in your hands. You are not trying to achieve a special state. You are not trying to force yourself to be calm. You are creating conditions for stability to arise on its own. These first 3 minutes invite you to stop doing and simply be. You are stepping off the treadmill of constant activity and giving yourself permission to rest in awareness. This quiet stillness is the ground upon which you will build the rest of your mind gym session. During these 3 minutes of stillness, your mind will naturally continue to produce thoughts. You might think about your to-do list, replay a conversation, or worry about a future event. This is completely normal. The goal of this phase is not to stop your thoughts. The goal is to change your relationship with them. This is where we introduce the core cue for this phase. As a thought arises, you will silently and gently say to yourself, "I'm the one noticing." This simple phrase is the key to shifting your perspective. It helps you take a step back and connect with the awareness that is watching it all happen. This cue works by creating a subtle separation. When you are lost in a thought, you and the thought are one. If an anxious thought about a work deadline appears, you become the anxiety. But when you silently say, "I'm the one noticing," you introduce a space. Suddenly, there is the anxious thought. And there is you, the one who is aware of it. You are no longer fused with the thought. You are the context in which the thought is occurring. This is a fundamental shift. You are not the thought, you are not the feeling, you are not the sensation. You are the silent, steady presence that is aware of all these things as they come and go. Repeat this cue gently whenever you remember. You might notice the feeling of the breath, and you can say, "I'm the one noticing the breath." You might hear a sound from outside, and you can say, "I'm the one noticing that sound." A memory might flash through your mind, and you can say, "I'm the one noticing that memory." The phrase acts as a gentle reminder, pulling your identity away from the fleeting objects of consciousness and grounding it in the consciousness itself. It's not an affirmation you have to believe. It is an instruction you simply follow. It points you back to the part of you that is always present and unchanging. You will know this phase is working when you begin to feel a sense of calm spaciousness. Thoughts may still be present, but they will feel less sticky and less personal. They will seem more like clouds passing through the vast sky of your awareness. The primary feeling will shift from being caught in the stream of thinking to resting on the bank and watching it flow by. This simple practice of returning to the cue, I'm the one noticing, is the most important skill you are building. It establishes the stable base of awareness that is necessary for the more active phases of the mind gym that are to come. Section 3. Handling the wandering mind. It is inevitable that your mind will wander. This is not a sign of failure. It is simply what minds do. You might be focused on your breath for a few seconds and then suddenly find yourself completely lost. A detailed plan for your weekend. An imaginary argument with a colleague. You might not even realize you have drifted away for a full minute or more. When this happens, it is crucial that you do not judge yourself. There is no need for frustration or disappointment. The moment you realize your mind has wandered is a moment of success. It is a moment of awareness. The recovery step is simple and gentle. The very instant you notice that you are lost in thought, you have already returned to the present. Your awareness is back online. Acknowledge where your mind went without any story or drama. Say, planning. Say, worrying. Then, gently and without force, guide your attention back to the practice. Return to the feeling of your breath, or return to the core cue for this phase. Let's walk through a brief example. You are sitting quietly, and an anxious thought about a difficult email you need to send pops into your head. You start composing drafts in your mind. You imagine the recipient's negative reaction. You feel a knot form in your stomach. You are completely identified with this drama. Then, a part of you wakes up and recognizes what is happening. You notice the anxiety. You notice the racing thoughts. In that moment of noticing, you have found your way back. You silently say, I'm the one noticing this anxiety, and gently redirect your focus back to the physical sensation of your breath moving in and out. This process of wandering and returning is the essence of the training. Each time you catch your mind drifting and gently bring it back, you strengthen your awareness muscle. You are building the neural pathways for mindfulness. Think of it like lifting a weight at the gym. The repetition is what creates strength. The goal is not a perfectly still mind that never wanders. The goal is to become skilled at noticing when it wanders and compassionately guiding it back over and over again. This builds a steady, reliable base of awareness that will serve you in the next, more challenging phases of your mind gym. Section 1. The 4-minute shift, from stabilizing to observing. After 3 minutes of stabilizing your attention, we now move into the second phase. Observe. This phase lasts for 4 minutes. The goal here is to build on the foundation of stillness you just created. In the first phase, you focused on anchoring your awareness with the cue, I'm the one noticing. Now, you will shift your focus slightly. Instead of just noticing that you are aware, you will begin to observe the specific content of your mind more closely. You are going to let your thoughts run freely without any attempt to stop them or push them away. This can feel a little counterintuitive at first, but it is a crucial step in understanding your own mind. The instruction for this phase is simple. Let your thoughts come and go. Do not try to control them. Imagine you are sitting on the bank of a river. The thoughts are like leaves. The thoughts are like sticks. The thoughts are like other objects. Your job is not to jump into the river to grab them. Your job is not to jump into the river to analyze them. Your job is not to jump into the river to push them downstream faster. Your job is simply to watch them float by. Some thoughts will be pleasant. Some thoughts will be neutral. Some thoughts might be uncomfortable. The practice is to allow all of them to pass without getting carried away by the current. You are cultivating the role of a detached, curious witness to your own mental activity. This shift from stabilizing to observing is an important one. The first phase helped you find the watcher within. This second phase trains the watcher to see the watched more clearly without getting entangled. You are moving from a general awareness of being aware to a more specific awareness of what is happening in your mind. This requires a delicate balance. You must remain engaged enough to see the thoughts, but detached enough not to get lost in them. It is like watching a movie. You are aware of the story unfolding on the screen, but you know that you are not the characters in the film. You are the audience. During these 4 minutes, you are simply giving your mind permission to do what it naturally does. It will generate thoughts. It will generate memories. It will generate plans. It will generate judgments. By letting it run without interference, you begin to see its patterns more clearly. You start to notice how one thought links to another, how a memory can trigger a feeling, or how a plan for the future can create a sense of anxiety. This is pure observation. You are not trying to fix anything or solve any problems. You are just gathering data, learning the terrain of your own inner world with a gentle and non-judgmental curiosity. Section 2. The Art of Labeling. Naming your thoughts. To help you maintain this detached perspective, we will introduce a simple but powerful technique: labeling. As a thought arises in your mind, you will quietly and mentally give it a one-word label. You are categorizing the thought based on its type, not its content. For example, if a thought about what you need to do tomorrow appears, label it planning. If a memory from your childhood surfaces, label it memory. If you find yourself criticizing something you did, label it judging. Or if a worry about a future event comes up, label it fear or worrying. Visual. A series of thought bubbles floating in a row, each with a one-word label underneath. Planning, memory, judgment, worrying. This practice of labeling is incredibly effective because it reinforces the separation between you and your thoughts. When you label a thought, you are implicitly stating, "This is a thought of a certain kind." Naming turns the thought from a subjective reality into an objective event you observe. A thought labeled fear becomes an instance of a mental event passing through awareness. That creates a gap, a moment of space to breathe and remember you are the observer. The rules for labeling are simple. First, use a single, neutral word. Example: planning is better than "I'm stressed about planning my meeting." Second, don't argue with the thought. Just label and let it go. Third, be gentle. The label is a description, not a judgment. Use a tone of light, friendly curiosity, not harsh analysis. You can use a few basic labels to start: planning, remembering, judging, worrying, fantasizing, thinking. You don't need a complicated system. The goal isn't to become a perfect thought classifier. The goal is to use labels as a tool so you don't get swept away by the thought stream. Each label is a gentle anchor pulling you back to the riverbank. It reminds you you're watching the river flow by. It is a simple, repeatable action that trains your mind to see thoughts as events, not absolute truths. Section 3. A stream of labels. Seeing the mind in action. As you continue this 4-minute practice, you will notice a constant stream of mental events. A thought about an upcoming appointment arises. You label it planning. Immediately after, a flash of a conversation from yesterday appears. You label it memory. Then your mind might comment on how you are doing the exercise. You label that judging. A sound from outside distracts you for a moment. You can label that hearing. Then, a vague feeling of unease about the future might surface. You label it worrying. This is the mind in action. You are getting a front row seat. This process of labeling reveals the impersonal, automatic nature of most of our thinking. You are not consciously choosing to think that embarrassing moment from high school or to plan your grocery list for the 3rd time. These thoughts simply appear, triggered by a complex web of associations. By labeling them as they arise, you prove to yourself that you are not the author of every thought. You are the space in which these thoughts happen. This insight is, profoundly liberating. It frees you from the burden of taking every single thought so personally and so seriously. Do not worry about labeling every single thought perfectly. Sometimes thoughts come too fast. At other times, your mind might feel quiet. The practice is not about speed or quantity. It is about the intention to observe and name what you can. If you miss a few thoughts, it doesn't matter. When you notice you have been lost in a story, simply label the whole experience thinking or storytelling, and return to observing the next thought that appears. The rhythm is gentle. A thought arises, you label it, you let it go, and you wait for the next one. Through this practice, you train your mind to recognize thought patterns as they occur in real time. You might notice that a memory often leads to a judgment, or that planning often triggers a feeling of anxiety. You are not analyzing these patterns during the exercise. You are simply observing them. This is how you develop what is sometimes called meta-awareness, the awareness of awareness itself. You become familiar with the habits of your own mind. This familiarity is the first step toward changing your relationship with those habits, not just in your mind gym, but in the midst of your daily life. Section 4. Working with sticky thoughts. During your observation, you will inevitably encounter sticky thoughts. These are thoughts that seem to have more weight or emotional charge. They don't just float by like other thoughts, they tend to linger. They repeat. They pull you back into the stream again and again. It might be a persistent worry about a health issue. It might be a recurring frustration with a coworker. It might be a strong craving for something. When these thoughts appear, it's easy to feel like the practice isn't working. You might feel you're failing because you can't let go of this one thought. The key: treat sticky thoughts with gentle curiosity, like any other thought. But you may need a slightly different technique. Notice when a thought returns for the third or fourth time. Then adjust your label. Instead of just worrying, label it worrying again, or label it repeat, or label the whole pattern story. This names the repetition without adding frustration. By labeling as repeat or story, you frame it as a mental habit. If labeling feels impossible because it's overwhelming, use another tool. Shift attention away to a physical sensation. Return focus to the breath moving in and out. Anchor in the physical. Feel your feet on the floor, or feel the weight of your body in the chair. Use the breath as a temporary refuge until intensity subsides. Once more stable, gently return to observing and labeling. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate difficult thoughts. The goal is to change how you relate to them. Practicing with sticky thoughts trains you not to be knocked off balance. Even powerful thoughts and feelings are temporary events in consciousness. They arise. They seem all-consuming for a moment. Then they eventually pass. Each time you notice a sticky thought without getting lost in it, you build resilience. You're learning to find your ground even when the inner weather is stormy. Section 1. The 3-minute trigger. Inviting the challenge. Now we enter the third phase of our mind gym. Interrupt. This phase lasts for 3 minutes and represents a significant step up in our training. In the previous phases, you created stability and observed your mind in a relatively calm state. You sat on the riverbank and watched your thoughts float by. Now, you are going to deliberately stir the waters. This is where the practice moves from passive observation to active engagement. It is one thing to feel calm when everything is quiet. It is another thing entirely to maintain your awareness when you feel emotionally activated. This phase is designed to bridge that gap. Your task is to intentionally bring a real-life trigger to mind. This is not a hypothetical problem, but a specific, concrete situation from your life that reliably causes an automatic, negative reaction in you. It could be the memory of a critical email from your boss. It could be the face of a person with whom you have a difficult relationship. It might be a recurring financial worry. It might be a stressful upcoming event. Choose something that is moderately triggering. It should be strong enough to provoke a genuine reaction, but not so overwhelming that you become completely flooded with emotion. Think of it as lifting a manageable weight, not an impossible one. Once you have your trigger in mind, hold it there gently. Replay the situation in your imagination. See the scene, hear the words, recall the feeling associated with it. The purpose is to allow your nervous system to begin its automatic reaction just as it would in real life. This is a crucial point. You are not trying to suppress the reaction. You are not trying to pretend it isn't happening. You are inviting it to show up in a controlled and safe environment. You are creating a laboratory where you can study your own automatic patterns without the real-world consequences of acting on them. This active engagement is what makes the interrupt phase so powerful. You are training your awareness to stay online precisely at the moment it usually shuts down. Most of our regrettable actions and words happen when we are emotionally hijacked. Our prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of our brain, gets overpowered by the limbic system, the emotional part. This practice strengthens your ability to keep the thinking brain engaged even as the emotional reaction begins to build. You are learning to stay present and conscious right at the edge of your reactivity, which is the exact place where you can make a new choice. Section 2. Observing the inner reaction. As you hold the trigger in your mind, your automatic reaction will begin to unfold. Watch it happen. Don't act, don't push it away, just observe. Notice the very first thing that happens. Does a thought immediately jump into your mind? Defensive thought. They have no right to say that. Self-criticism. I always mess this up. Notice this initial thought as the first part of the chain reaction. See it clearly without getting swept away by its story. This is the mental component beginning to take shape. Now shift attention to your body. Emotional reactions are physical events. Scan your body with curious, open awareness. What do you feel? Heart rate starting to speed up, chest tightening, a knot in the stomach, heat rising in the face, shoulders tensing toward the ears. These are not random sensations. Emotion manifesting anger, emotion manifesting fear, emotion manifesting shame. Observe without judgment. Apply a simple label to these shifts. More specific labeling now. Anger rising, chest tightening, want to reply. Naming acts as an anchor. It keeps you as the observer while the internal storm brews. See the reaction as a process unfolding within you, not who you are. The anger is not you. It's a wave passing through. Repeat the sequence as you hold the trigger. Step 1. Identify the trigger. Step 2. Note the first automatic thought. Step 3. Notice the bodily sensation. Step 4. Give the reaction a simple label. Finally, I'm the one noticing. Return to the seat of awareness. You are the spacious container. You are the sky. The emotional storm is temporary weather. Section 3. The power of pausing under pressure. The simple act of observing your reaction as it forms is revolutionary. It creates a pause. This pause may only last for a second or two, but it is a moment of pure gold. In that space between the trigger and your automatic response, freedom is born. Normally, the trigger and the reaction are fused together. They happen so fast that they feel like a single event. Your partner says something in a certain tone, and instantly you are defensive. Your boss sends a demanding email, and instantly you feel overwhelmed. There is no space for choice. The program just runs itself. This practice wedges a moment of awareness into that process. By watching the reaction build, you are seeing it as a process, not an instantaneous event. You notice the first spark of irritation before it becomes a raging fire. You feel the initial clenching in your gut before it becomes full-blown anxiety. When you can see the steps, you realize you are not powerless. You are not a victim of your own reactions. You are present for their creation, and that means you have influence over what happens next. This is the moment where you take the controls back from the autopilot. This training is far more effective than trying to be calm only when things are already calm. Practicing awareness during self-induced activation is like a firefighter training in a smoke-filled room. You know it prepares you for the real thing. It builds the crucial skill of staying grounded when your internal alarms are going off. Each time you successfully observe a reaction without being consumed by it, you are rewiring your nervous system. You are weakening the old automatic neural pathway and strengthening the new pathway of conscious awareness. You are teaching your brain a new way to respond to stress. Look for the small wins during this phase. A small win might be noticing the heat in your face and not immediately saying something sharp. It might be feeling your chest tighten and consciously choosing to take one slow breath. It could be seeing the defensive thought arise and simply letting it pass without believing it. These are not small achievements. They are monumental shifts. They are evidence that the training is working. You are proving to yourself, through direct experience, that you do not have to be a slave to your habits. You can notice, you can pause, and you can create a space for a different choice to emerge. Section 4. Real-world examples. From trigger to awareness. Let's make this more concrete with a couple of brief, real-world examples. Imagine your trigger is your partner's tone of voice when they ask if you have paid a certain bill. In the past, this tone has instantly made you feel accused and defensive. As you bring this trigger to mind in your practice, you hear their voice in your head. They always think I'm irresponsible. You label it judging thought. Almost simultaneously, you feel a flush of heat in your chest and your jaw clenches. You label it defensiveness rising or tightness. You just watch this whole package of thought and sensation unfold without doing anything. In that moment of watching, you have interrupted the chain reaction. Normally, the next link would be you snapping back with, "Yes, I paid it. Why are you always checking up on me?" But because you paused and observed, a new possibility exists. You have created a space. You saw the defensive reaction as it formed, and you did not let it take the driver's seat. You stayed in the observer's seat, watching the process. This doesn't mean the feeling of irritation vanishes instantly. It means you are no longer identified with it. You are aware of the irritation, which is completely different from being an irritated person. Here is another example. Your trigger is receiving a short, blunt email from your boss that says, "We need to talk about the project." Your automatic reaction is usually a wave of anxiety and a spiral of negative thoughts about what you might have done wrong. During your mind gym, you bring this email to mind. "I'm in trouble." You label it fear. You feel a sinking feeling in your stomach and your breath becomes shallow. You label it anxiety or shrinking. You just sit with these sensations, observing them as a purely physical and mental process. By observing this reaction, you stop the spiral before it gains momentum. You don't get lost in imagining all the terrible things your boss might say. You don't frantically start reviewing all your work to find a mistake. You simply stay present with the initial wave of fear and the physical sensations in your stomach. You notice it, you name it, and you let it be. This is how you build emotional resilience from the inside out. You are learning to tolerate the discomfort of the initial reaction without letting it dictate your entire state of mind and your subsequent actions. This is the heart of the interrupt phase. Table of Contents, Part 5, Act 4, Phase 4, Redirect. Section 1. Asking the decisive question. Section 2. Visualizing and feeling the new response. Section 1. Asking the decisive question. Having successfully navigated the interrupt phase, you now enter the fourth phase, redirect. This crucial stage also lasts for 3 minutes. In the previous phase, you created a pause by observing your automatic reaction without getting swept away. You sat in the eye of the storm, aware, not consumed. Now, in that space, you will consciously choose a new direction. You move from noticing autopilot to actively charting a different course. Pivot from reaction to creation, transform a potential conflict into growth. The practice begins with a single, powerful question. Hold awareness of your trigger and initial response, then silently ask, "What would I choose if I wasn't reacting?" That question is the key to a new reality. It shifts focus from the problem, the automatic reaction, to the solution. It presumes you have a choice, countering the powerlessness strong emotions bring. It invites the wiser, calmer part of you to step forward, bypassing the noisy, panicked habit. This isn't self-criticism of your initial reaction. The automatic response is a deeply ingrained habit. Old code. The question invites you to upgrade that code. It's an act of self-compassion. Acknowledge the reaction and look for a skillful alternative. It prompts connection with your deeper values. How do you truly want to show up? Do you want to be driven by fear, or by confidence, by anger, or by understanding, by defensiveness, or by openness? This helps align your response with who you aspire to be. Allow the answer to arise without forcing it. It might not be grand. Often the most powerful response is simple and subtle. Listen instead of interrupting. Take a deep breath before speaking. Say, "I need a moment to think about this," instead of a hasty reply. Identify one clear, concrete action or attitude shift that feels aligned. This is the first step in actively redirecting your energy. Section 2. Visualizing and feeling the new response. Once you have identified your chosen response, the next step is to make it real in your mind and body. This is more than just a fleeting thought. It is a full sensory rehearsal. For the remainder of the 3 minutes, visualize this new response as clearly as you possibly can. Close your eyes and imagine the triggering scenario again. This time, instead of the old automatic reaction, play the new chosen one. See yourself executing it with calm and confidence. Imagine the scene in vivid detail, like a movie of your ideal self. Example: partner's tone. Visualize responding differently. See yourself pausing. Take a calm breath. Say, "I hear your concern. Yes, the bill is paid." Imagine the calm, steady tone of your voice. See an open, non-defensive posture. Example: boss's email. Visualize reading it. Notice the initial jolt of fear. Choose to take a few slow breaths. Calmly write a simple reply. "Thanks, I'll be there." See your fingers typing with a steady hand. As you visualize, also feel it in your body. Feel it anchor in your nervous system. As you imagine speaking calmly, feel relaxation in your throat. Feel relaxation in your jaw. As you visualize open posture, feel your shoulders release tension. Feel them dropping away from your ears. As you respond with curiosity instead of judgment, feel spaciousness in your chest. You are embodying the new response. You are giving your nervous system a felt sense of the new choice. This is neural rewiring. You are creating and strengthening a trigger-to-choice pathway that can compete with the old one. Repeat the rehearsal. Make it familiar and accessible to your brain. This increases the chance you'll access the new choice in real life. You are practicing your way to a new reality, one intentional, visualized response at a time. Table of Contents. Part 6. Conclusion. Phase 5. Lock-in. Section 1. The final 2 minutes. Your daily intention. Section 1. The final 2 minutes. Your daily intention. We have arrived at the final phase of your 15-minute Mind Gym lock-in. This last step takes only 2 minutes, but it is what seals your practice for the day. It bridges the gap between your quiet, internal training and your active, external life. You have stabilized your attention, observed your thoughts, interrupted a reaction, and redirected your choice. Now, you will consolidate this work into a simple, memorable commitment. This phase ensures that the awareness you have cultivated does not evaporate the moment you get up from your seat. It plants a seed of intention that you can carry with you throughout your day. The practice for this phase is to create a single, clear sentence. This sentence acts as your guiding principle for the day ahead. It follows a specific formula. Today I catch myself when XYZ and choose 123. XYZ is the specific trigger or automatic reaction you worked with in the interrupt phase. 123 is the new, chosen response you rehearsed in the redirect phase. This sentence crystallizes your practice into a portable and practical instruction. It is not a vague wish to be a better person. It is a precise operational command for your brain to follow. Let's look at a few examples to make this clear. Today, I catch myself when I hear that sharp tone and choose curiosity instead of defense. Today, I catch myself when work stress spikes and choose a 5-minute walk before I react. Today, I catch myself when I start judging my progress and choose to just notice instead. Say this sentence to yourself a few times, either silently or out loud. Let it sink in. This simple act of repetition primes your mind to be on the lookout for that specific trigger during the day. This entire 15-minute process is a powerful form of neural rewiring. The daily repetition is what makes it so effective. Awareness allows you to see the pattern. Interruption creates the space for change. Replacement gives you a new path to follow. Finally, repetition solidifies that new path, making it your new default. Small, consistent daily practice is what truly frees you from the prison of your own habits. I invite you to try this routine every day for just 1 week. Notice the small shifts. Notice the moments of pause. This is how you reclaim your life, one conscious choice at a time.